Tels sont les sujets abordés dans votre émission L'Afrique en marche. Rendez-vous continuel sur la radio-télévision Charilogone.
Everybody, this is your man, Chuck Creekmer, aka Jigsaw. AllHipHop.com is here once again with the real Grandmaster J. How are you doing today, my brother?
Brother, I'm glad to be here, brother. I'm glad to see you. Still see that you're still black. Can't say that for too many others, but so am I. So real glad to be here.
Still black, bro. It ain't gonna change. So I want to jump. Let's just jump right into it. I know you are a busy man. I know that you have been on the front lines in so many different ways, in thought as well as action. First things first, though, you have this formation coming in Louisville in defense of Breonna Taylor. Can you tell our audience, as well as others that may be watching, from your words, why you are going there with your organization?
One word: frustration. We have sat back and we have watched them drag their feet. We have watched the lack of transparency as far as what's going on. We have watched other people go in and try to demonstrate and protest to raise awareness around the issue. We have watched the lack of information that has not come out from the powers to be that are in that area. And then we have watched the city pretty much just dissolve into a place of chaos. And I've been to Louisville before, and I don't ever remembering seeing it like that. So that means that there must be a serious problem. We have watched everyone from sports figures to entertainment celebrities call for the arrest of the officers. That hasn't happened. But most importantly, we have also watched what appears to be a lack of a conversation by the rest of the world around the death of this young lady, when everyone else was in an uproar over George Floyd, and for a brief while they were in an uproar over Ahmaud Arbery. It seems like Miss Taylor was lost somewhere in the discussion. So we decided that we needed to send a stronger message, and that message needed to be not only seen but felt, and that the potential for a new level of resistance that hasn't been seen in America in over 60 years, that they didn't think existed anymore, that they thought that they had eradicated from the public psyche, that was not the case. We're not new, we've been coming for a minute. And now it would seem that it would be only logical for us to have our formation in Louisville and to open up a dialogue with the Attorney General, the governor, the mayor, the police chief, everyone else involved in finding out what exactly is going on and what is the holdup in what appears to many people to be a cut and dry case of a police screw up. And that is why, that's the motivation for us descending, as I've seen the newspapers call it, upon this town, when in actuality, just like any militia, we're holding a formation.
Got it. You've been clear on saying this is not a protest. What can you explain? And this is actually for me. What the difference is from a protest or formation? What are the differences?
Anybody who's ever served in the military knows that a formation is the calling together of an organized unit for the dissemination of information for action. Okay. That could be, you never know what's happening in the formation. It's just that you get into formation, you assemble yourselves in an orderly fashion in a command structure. The formation is under the command of one individual. The formation does not question. The formation is on one accord. The formation can either move along peacefully or break down to commit war. The difference between a protest and a demonstration is that a protest or a demonstration is chaotic, and it gives folks the opportunity to voice their independent opinions. Formations don't do that. A formation already has orders when it shows up, and it acts on them depending on who's in charge of the formation. That is a characteristic of a military unit. That is why I stress, we're not protesters, we're not demonstrators. You've already done that. Now it's time for the militia to come in to find out, what are you going to do? Because if you tell us the same thing that you told them, then what you're doing is you're inviting us to respond.
Got it. How have your talks been with the government? I've heard things from local government as well as local activists who I don't really know what their views are, but you have had those conversations.
You know, that's the difference also between, back to your original question, the difference between a formation, which represents a militarized unit of private citizens in this case, and protesters. Protesters raise awareness, whereas anytime you're confronting an organization, there's normally someone within that organization who is willing to have a dialogue with whoever their counterparts are, so that we can lay out our concerns and expectations, and they can do the same. It's also a chance to exchange information, give clarification on positions and so forth. That's the purpose. Since we've gotten involved in the Breonna Taylor situation, yes, you know, and I can say this now, even though I was pretty much not going to say anything until I saw the proof that they were going to deliver on what they told us. But I have been in direct communication with the Attorney General. I've been in direct communication with the mayor's office, the senior operations police commanders, all of the folks involved in this entire situation, to get a clear picture of what exactly is going on behind the scenes, the things that they're not telling the public. Because I've explained this before, perception is reality. And we don't care what you're doing behind the scenes. If the public perceives you're doing nothing, then the public is going to act accordingly. So we've had those discussions, and I'm pretty sure you all have seen the initial discussion that I had with the city council and the mayor's office and representatives of the police department, as well as the activists on the ground. That was broadcast. I think it's got like 30,000 views. It was requested by the powers to be that if they wanted to continue to have those discussions, that they become private. And I agreed to that, with the understanding that if I participate in this process with you, that what is going to have to happen is at some point, you're going to have to come out and acknowledge that we've had these discussions and whether or not they've been fruitful. The conversations have been fruitful. There's an article that was published today that I saw in the local papers and in the national papers, where they admitted that they've been in discussion with us and that everything has been positive. When I say positive, I don't mean that all of a sudden we know what's going to happen and when. What I mean is they've been very forthcoming and giving information to us in detail so that we have an understanding. Oh, this is what's going on. And so they have been fruitful. Additionally, even though they've been open with us, it doesn't change our mission. We're still coming. Right. So there's another discussion that had to be open. What are your intentions? What is it that you hope to achieve? Is there some way that we can find a middle ground so that this doesn't dissolve into World War III? And I'm being honest with you, I'm not exaggerating this. You've seen some of the rhetoric that's been thrown around by white supremacists. You've seen some of the rhetoric that has been talked about by just average, pardon my language, white folks who don't understand that it's okay when a black person picks up a gun, that they're not going to pay you back for all the 400 years worth of garbage you've done to us, even though you may have a guilt complex or an inferiority complex. That's not my problem. Under the Constitution, we can bear arms.
Charilogone. Tels sont les sujets abordés dans votre émission L'Afrique en marche. Rendez-vous continuel sur la radio-télévision Charilogone.